What's going on, guys? Hey, Tonya.
Hey. Hi, how's it going? We're live right now on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, you know the whole thing. We're live.
Yep. Excited about this one. It's our first horror franchise. This is gonna be great.
You know, people love to collect stuff like this too, especially if it's an NFT.
Oh yeah. Let me just send him a quick little reminder, even though I just spoke to him. Tell me if they pop in, because I can't see the screen.
I can't. Nope, they're not here yet. But we're almost done with our website. I just gotta put in your bio and the other information, and I just gotta figure out where I'm gonna put Beem on the site. But it's done. I think I got finished blogging 3 or 4 more of the shows we've done, but most of it has been moved over.
Great. Hey, Tess.
Hi, Geno.
Hey, Tess.
Can you hear me? She's on Beam with me.
Hi.
Guys.
You guys have been having such amazing conversations. I'm really just grateful of your hosting capabilities and, the way that you're always kind of leading very meaningful, productive conversations. And thank you for including us in that.
Thank you. No, thank you for including us. Appreciate that so much. Takes a team to make something awesome,
Yeah. How do you think we get more of the people participating on Twitter to kind of join us here? And do you guys want to use some visuals here sometimes?
Yeah, I saw what you guys are doing, the new update where you can stream live to Beam to Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is going to be huge, cool, because we have Twitter Spaces. That's what people really want to do, is go live from Twitter, and you guys are making it possible. Right. So right there, here's a competition. Here's Beam. We're going live on Twitter. No one's doing that. So, yep, that right there is a winner. I don't think we can do anything Anything more than that, that right there is huge. I saw the test yesterday. I was like, oh my God, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It is a wrap.
So Tess, when we get a chance, I'd love to sit with you and kind of like pitch some ideas. I thought I have some. I'm doing the whole streaming of DJs, so and I was just thinking, how cool would it be if I tried it out on Beem to see, because my back, like you threw a lot of gaming stuff too, so we connected on that. But I used to throw raves, and the raves were like it's really about the experience, and the platform is the key. But what's the experience about? So I was talking to one of my musicians, and we were just talking about it, and I was like, I wonder what it'd be like to use a Beem app.
I think you and I are going to have a lot to talk about. I've been like, whenever I see you in a space, I try to like pop in and listen. And I've seen you in mental health spaces, and I've seen you like, you're just a holistic, creative, energizing human. So I'm super excited to talk about all the things with you.
Well, I just feel like everything that you have to offer goes hand in hand what I'm looking to do. So I think and that's why one of the reasons why Geno and I are collaborating, and I'm putting a lot of time on the website, because I'm all about SEO, search engine optimization, and we're still in Web 2, and it's all about the experience. But if I can bring the Web 2, mix it in with a Web 3, and then really leave something behind for people to look at. So like today's event, I made it into an event page, and so it will always, and then it has the YouTube live stream onto it. So even when the Twitter space is gone, the event page will be there. And then what happens is my developer, I already have someone working on this. They take the event page and they make it into a blog, which goes into my multi-sites, which is the Virtual Film Festival. I bought the domain, by the way, virtualfilmfestival.space. I just got to wire. I did it wrong though. I have to go back and redo it. But I did it. The site's up. Everything's up. I've just got to get all the guests, author information, and make a page about them. So this way, as time goes on, as they get bigger, I can add on to it. And then this way they come back and they can say, oh yeah, we were in Geno and Tonya's space. That's where we came from.
And before we continue, I also wanted to add, we're branching off Starseed Film and Music. We have the Virtual Film Festival, and our new project, She Crypto. She is my co-host for that, and it's the MetaHood project, where I come from the music side of things as well. So I still have my hand in kind of like music, but what we're wanting to do with MetaHood, we're going to keep the film festival vibe, but we're going to interview videographers and music directors. So we're bringing, that aspect of film from music, to the Virtual Film Festival platform. So I think that's going to be real huge. I've been going real hard on that. The roadmap should be done. I think it's tomorrow. And we put out like a mixtape every month. We have a MetaHood Artist of the Month, and it's gonna be pretty cool. So I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited for you. You're kidding me? I'm proud of you. God.
Thank you so much.
And you know what the funny thing is? I've been running across like people are talking about this. Like I'm all about music NFTs, but the people are talking about music video NFT. I was like, what? Yeah. And then I said, you know what? I think Geno's doing something. He's talking about it, him and She Crypto. So, but yeah, I think it's you're onto something big right there. I mean, besides, I'm telling you, music NFT, you got to have videos to go with the music NFT.
Nobody talks about the videographers like the Hype Williams and stuff like that. Hype Williams, I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he did the old Busta Rhymes video, which is a classic, which was art. He did a lot of Missy Elliott's videos. I mean, these guys are making mini movies, so that's what I want to spotlight. The filmmakers in the music industry. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
Ooh, I love that.
All right.
Okay, let's go.
Let's get the show on the road.
Hey guys,
Block of Four is in the house.
Hey, is it possible if we bring up Blockamus and DT? They're the other two co-founders here.
Sure, yeah. Go ahead. You got that, Tonya?
I got Block, and then I'm getting DT right now. I'm on it, babe. Got it.
All right, cool. So
Yeah,
what's
if they
going
can
on,
grab the
guys?
mic, I just offer the mic to both of them. If they didn't, there you go. We got it.
Hey, what's
All
up,
right.
friends?
What's happening, brother?
Nothing much. Nothing much. Excited to be here.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. We're excited to have you guys here. You guys are our first horror franchise, so that's totally awesome. We're gonna have a dope conversation today. And you guys are doing something. I had this idea. It's crazy how great minds think alike. But you guys have already did it, packaged it up, and put it out to the people. The virtual cinema, the virtual theater. You guys are killing that.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we wanted to do. Blockamus and my name is Mike. I go by Mazer on Twitter, and Blockamus is Zach. We've been trying to do something innovative for a long time. We met in like 2015, and we were trying to get into 360 video, and I was a real early adopter of VR. I got the Vive when it first came out, and and have always been trying to find ways to integrate film into VR or 360 or something new. And it's just amazing how we found Web3, and Web3 has finally been the thing that has been clicking, and finally something that we could make this something new and innovative and fun happen. So
Right.
we built that theater, and very, very excited about it.
That's dope, man. Kudos to, because VR is the future, metaverse is the future, and you guys are right on top of it, and you nailed it. So congratulations.
Yeah, and to tally on that, also we're intending to, we have other plots of land across different metaverses, and I think everyone here understands that, like, hey, where are we all going to hang out with? Like, hang out in? We don't know yet. It could be, Sandbox. It could be the other side. It could be a version of all of this, or it could just be like a new thing that we haven't even seen yet. So part of what we're trying to do is just position ourselves to, really wherever the market's going, we can partake in that. And we just don't know where that's going to be yet. So the VR chat right now is more or less like a working prototype. So, we can stage films, we can screen stuff, we can add props and you can play with them. We can all talk, we can take selfies in it. So it's like a nice, live working prototype for anybody to go in and just kind of hang out. And, we try to do weekly spaces in there just to update the community, watch some new films as we go as well. So just to kind of tally off that, yes, as we can see, the metaverses are expanding. There's going to be different ones and different capacities that can do different things. And so a big thing that we're working to position ourselves is to just be able to create the kinds of experiences we want, but where they're going to be most effective and who has the tech to support it and all that good stuff. So just to tally off that.
Absolutely. And before we dive into this conversation a little bit more, and I ask you guys about yourselves, I just wanted to ask you guys, do you guys have the Oculus?
I do, yes.
Have you checked out the big screen app and what they're doing with VR theater?
Yeah, big screen's really cool. I think it's pretty cool because you can go in the theater. I saw you can like sit in the living room and connect with friends. I think that's a really, really, really cool way to do it as well.
Oh yeah. I found out about them about I think it might have been 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and I immediately hit them up on Twitter, like sent them a message. Haven't got back to me yet, but if Beem and Starseed can link up with big screen, that'd be huge. Even you guys. So
yeah, you can throw popcorn at people in there. It's pretty cool.
that would be dope, man. For all to come together and do something super major. So yeah, Block of Horror. Tell us about yourself. What inspired you guys to get into film? What inspired you guys to go down this path?
Yeah. So just to give everyone who may be new here with us, last year we were actually working to do a short film to promote a feature we were working on, and to raise money to do the feature. And it was actually about NFTs and about the space before we were really deep into it. And as we were getting into production, pre-production for that, we were like, wait a second. Do we know enough about this space to actually make a movie about it? Number one. Number two, do we actually want to go the traditional route of doing things when this new technology seems like way more interesting and way more opportunistic? And so basically we pivoted off that and just dove headfirst into the NFT space. Uh, Obviously learning, educating ourselves, investing directly into projects, especially ones that we saw that had a similar kind of theme or through line as what we wanted to do. And so we started working on Block of Horror last April or May, but from a just kind of like, let's put this together the right way for what we really want to do. We thought about the whole PFP angle first, and we were just like, that's just not our mission to use NFTs to do. And so, through that process, through the last year, we've been just strategizing, learning, evolving, and just kind of being in getting in position to do what we really want to do, which is, really focus on decentralizing how content is created and then ultimately distributed, right? So that artists and fans anywhere across the world have a place to be empowered to create and to support the creative process and have utility beyond what they're used to in the Web 2 industry standard. And so our Genesis Mint is geared towards the end of May, fingers crossed. As you know, things can evolve. But basically, we're starting with 13 original movie poster concepts, stories, more or less, that our artist is working hard on and are looking really good, to be honest. Very inspiring type stuff. And so first up, you're going to mint a token. It's a membership pass to Block of Horror. And then you're going to vote. Which one of these 13 story prompts do you want us to make into the feature film, our first feature film? And that's kind of our first pillar of season one is what we're calling this. And so season one, we're going to make a movie. We're going to go through the development process. We're going to have a voting portal on our website. You're going to be able to vote the direction of the film to various degrees. Obviously, we don't want to step on the toes of the artists we bring in, but at the same token, we want to find a nice synergy so the community is empowered to have a say in a fun way. How does character B die? Is it this way or is it that way? Do they go the wrong direction? So we really want to infuse it with like a choose your own adventure from inception to distribution. And so that's the real kind of creative through line that we're striving toward. And then with the other 12 remaining poster movie concepts that are not chosen, we're going to work on developing different types of content, in reference to what that content's about. So in whatever capacities we kind of come up with, and we're exploring options now, we'll also invite the community to maybe participate in, helping us decide poster number 3 would be great for this, whether it's a graphic novel or some other types of content. So just to give you kind of a broad framework, broad strokes, that's where we're at and where we're basically going for our season 1 launch here at the end of May.
Wow, very impressive. Wow. The potential for that, all of that is just through the roof. I really see you guys doing extremely well in that space. And wow, you guys are doing it. What attracted you guys to the horror genre? And
and I know Mike and David, I mean, they love horror. I love horror as well. So from a fan perspective, from a creative perspective is, to me, some people, like my wife hates horror because she doesn't like to be scared. But to me, I embrace it because it tells me things about myself. It tells me about, don't let your ego get the best of you, because then you go the wrong way and you fall off a cliff and die. Right. Like, so there's a level of truth that is layered in horror that I think sometimes we forget just because of all the gore that can come up at times. But as you see, like in the Black Mirrors of the world, or like the Get Outs, and this kind of new kind of approach to what horror really can undertake, I think there's a reason why the box office has been doing much better the last 5 years in horror than almost any other genre besides any superhero film. And it's because it just resonates so deeply with us, our deepest fears, our deepest human issues. And that's just something that's super intriguing from a fan perspective and from a creative perspective. And from a pragmatic production perspective, anyone in the film industry, I think, understands that horror is typically a cheaper pathway to creating quality products that can sell to a market. And so, for us to be in a position to, if we don't have a $20 million budget, we can still make a solid, good, entertaining, innovative, maybe film that has a good chance of having a distribution outlet. So, just from a genre perspective and a production perspective, it tends to lend itself to more opportunities to do things at a lower cost, but still be really good quality on the other side of it. So it's twofold in that sense, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys see yourself branching out to maybe like the horror genre? I'm not horror, I'm sorry. The thriller, like more of a thriller genre, or is it you guys strictly sticking to horror?
Yeah, so it's tricky because I think the name horror has a very specific connotation to some people and a very different connotation to others. And so thriller for us is a part of the horror like subgenre. And that's why we're the block of horror is we really want to expand it even beyond the expected subgenres. Like we think really embracing like even other cultures' version of horror is eventually where we'd like to lead this to, because again with the vehicle of decentralized and Web3, this doesn't have to be just a US based thing. This doesn't have to just be Hollywoodites leading the way. There's a world where we can build the platform to where it's, like I said, empowering and inviting other people across the world in other languages and other cultures to have a piece of the horror pie, so to speak, to whether from a fan perspective or an artist perspective, and be a part of that that opportunity to express horror in maybe new ways that we don't even know.
Absolutely. You guys kind of revolutionizing that whole genre, doing something new and fresh. It's dope.
Yeah.
Let's see the homie.
Oh yeah, and I love Big Love to come up and ask the question. And just one kind of thing on that too is, I think whether it's a history thing or whatever, I think sometimes the perception of, let's say, like a niche fan club, let's say like horror, may feel at times like, it's all the boys who want to just like do gory stuff. And, we don't want that to be the case for us. We really want to broaden the scope to where like there's horror in all types of ways, and tons of people of various backgrounds and experiences can share in this and what this horror can actually mean. It doesn't have to be the horror of yesteryear. It's a new path forward, so to speak. So we're definitely looking to broaden the scope of what horror can mean to the community.
Yeah, and I think there'd be something for everybody. There's so many subgenres in here, and just by working with the community, I think we could all find a happy medium for something for everybody to enjoy.
Absolutely. Big Love. Yeah, I have a question.
Hey, what's going on, friends? How y'all doing today?
Hey, Big Love, what's up?
Hey, so got a quick question for Block of Horror. So I know you said you got the 13 posters coming out. One of them will be chosen DAO style by your members to create the movie. The other 12, you said you're looking to expand the IP in other ways. I guess my question is, does that all happen at the same time? While that first movie is being produced, is the graphic novel and or comic or whatever you have in plan for the other 12 happening at the same time? Or is this like a consecutive thing? You knock one off and then you go to the next?
Perfect. First off, Big Love, thank you so much. Your questions are always amazing, by the way. Yeah, so that's a great question. So the plan is, the big thing we're working towards obviously is the feature film, right? Like it's the main thing I think most people are going to be coming in for. That's going to be our emphasis, but we're going to be allocating resources towards each of the 12 other stories, so to speak, and it's going to be on a rolling basis as everything develops. So I don't want to overpromise anything because, like I said, the emphasis is the feature film, but there will be resources allocated to the other 12 story prompts. And something that we haven't necessarily talked about in detail publicly yet, because our legal team's still working out the exact wording around it, but I'll give you a little bit of alpha drip, as they say, is different pieces of the 13. So if we have 13 movie concepts, so to speak, or story concepts, we'll have different buckets of commercial licensing ability for holders. So for instance, the feature film may be in one bucket of shared licensing or not, and then some of the other content may be more open-ended. And so we're finalizing all of that details, and we'll be rolling that out as we get closer to mint and into, obviously everyone having their tokens, like, hey, can I license this? Can I not license that? And there's reasons for that we'll get into later in detail with everyone that is interested in our project and our company. But basically, to just kind of paint that picture, we want all of the IP in the long run to have commercial licensing ability for our community, for any token holder, for any member, right? There's a lot of legal loopholes with some things in regards to getting distribution deals with like the Netflixes and HBOs of the world. And so we can't necessarily promise something if we're going to make a feature film and give everyone open licensing, like the BAYC style. Well, then we may not be able to get the distribution deal that everyone's after as well. So we just have to position ourselves smartly and continue to open things up as we're able. But definitely as we go, right from the start, there's going to be IP that we're working on as, let's say, the founders, that is going to be open, commercialization for the community. So like we're all in this together, so to speak, right? And so to your question though, we're going to be rolling things out as we go. Some of the other projects will start as soon as mint happens. Some of them we're already talking to people about doing things already. So it's just kind of like, but we want the community to also be a part of the conversation. So we're navigating some things maybe a little more autonomous, here we go, just to get things moving. And other things we're definitely going to open it up and say, hey guys, like, let's decide this together, because we're all going to be working on this essentially together, or to whatever degree, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. And I got one other question. You said that whoever you pick as an artist to do, like say the movie, you want to give them some creative choices, or creative freedom, but still give choices back to the members in the form of voting. And so will this be like an artist curated list? So that way, it's still within their frame set, but also giving options to the members? Or is this going to be like a free for all?
Yeah, so the goal is, and to speak on a couple of things within this larger issue, is, law of averages don't necessarily produce the best results, right? And that's why, you have artists that, I do everything. Well, that may be good, that may be bad. We want to find the compromise where the community has a say, has a voice, is respected as a part of that decision-making process, but also not compromising the integrity of the artwork that needs to have its own kind of life outside of anyone's ego, including mine, right? And so I think that answers the gist of your question, but if I missed a tinge of it, because I kind of, pivoted a little bit, feel free to ask it again. Big love, sorry.
No, I think you got it. And I think that's the fairest way to go. The creatives in the space. You're going to get gems from the members too, but not all of them are going to be gems. And the creative person in charge, you have them in charge for a reason. To take the lead. And I think the way you're doing it, I think it is a great mix of it, and especially the way you explained it. Not to lean too far one way or the other. I appreciate you. I just wanted to come up. I heard you talking about it, and I'm always in these spaces, but just had a couple quick questions about it. And I know if I did, I'm sure other people did. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Big Love. Your questions are always fantastic, and it's important to talk about it because just from a our thematic mission statement is 100% to make sure that we are the ambassadors for bridging both of these worlds for the community's benefit, so to speak, right? Like, so everything we're doing is looking at it from the community's lens perspective, not from, let's say, our VC's perspective, not that we have one, but like, or our distribution companies, right? So like the first priority for us is the community's lens of the decisions we make. And then obviously that's going to inform us going, well, no, the community needs to be a part of this decision. And so, everything we do is going to be looked through first and foremost from what is the community lens in regards to a decision we're going to make in this respect. So just from hey, why are you guys doing this? Like, just from our experiences and things that I've found in life that are amazing. I want to be collaborative. I know Mike and David are very collaborative as well. So that, to me, it's all about the collaborative process, and the community is now a part of that. I don't consider myself a founder. I consider myself an ambassador. So it's we work essentially for you, the community, is how I see us. So just for purposes, yeah.
Nice. Within this Web3 space, community is so important. If you don't have your community behind you, your project's not going to do very well. And in the future, I see collaborative films and community-made films. I see that as a whole totally different genre of films here in the future. And I just think that's awesome. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and unless someone else wants to jump in, feel free. Yeah, I agree with you. I really think, and I'll give an example. I know some people have heard this before, but it's a good one and it's true. Is back in 2005 when X-Men 3 came out, there was a viral video that they then put that moment the fans created into the blockbuster summer feature. And opening night, a bunch of high school kids, I was one of them, it was the best moment of the film. And it just gave us a sense of they're hearing us, right? Like, we all want to be heard. We all want to be, respected in that sense, especially from, like, I'm creative too, even if I'm a 17-year-old kid, just, cutting up with my friends. And so that to me is like the feeling and the essence we want to just make sure we're always looking to capture at minimum is, as a fan, even if you're not an active like participant every day, but your name can be on this film. Your input can be taken seriously. Your voice will be heard and respected, whether it ends up in the final product or not. And I think just that in itself is just something we don't see in the Web 2 models of business in general. And I think it's just where we're headed, and Web 3 gives us the advantage to do that kind of pragmatically and functionally. And so that to me is just super exciting.
It is, and it's incredible to watch. Super excited about it. A couple questions I wanted to ask you guys. Being such fans of the horror genre, I wanted to ask you guys, what are your top 3 horror movies?
It's so hard to choose. There's so many. I will say my favorite movie is The Ring. It's I love the levels of suspense and the style of it. Everything in horror can be interpreted differently or however you want it to be. It's different per person. I'm a very visual person. When I see something, it's like that stuff resonates with me. The color grade on a film, the music, all that stuff. It really takes a village when you're making a horror movie to have all of those elements that really scare you or invoke some kind of emotion. And I said this in a space a little while ago, but like, even if you didn't like the movie, if it left some lasting impression on you, if you hated it or if it made you feel uncomfortable, the movie did its job, because that's what it's there to do. It's there to invoke emotion. And for me, the ring does that. Cabin in the Woods is up there too. It's really hard to choose between so many great movies, but yeah. Those are definitely my top two.
Going back to what Mazer just said, it's so hard to choose because there's so many good ones. Like, I love my guilty pleasure is zombie movies. I'm pretty much into any type of zombie movies, even like the 1970s, zombie movies. But I also like the terrible horror movies. Like those are some of my favorites as well. But like in recent years, I guess if I had to like name three, The Conjuring. I thought they did a fantastic job with that. Dead Silence. I don't know what it is, but I have a thing for puppets. Anytime they're incorporated in a horror film, it really makes my skin crawl. And then I would say I'm gonna have to go with we classify this, like to Zach's point, blocking this point earlier. There are so many different subgenres within horror. So Get Out, that's a psychological thriller, and when I love it because it is classified in horror because they use a very real subject matter that is not really talked about to be the monster of the film, which is racism. So I thought that was a very clever take on like creating a monster character in horror and using that as a device to tell the story. So those are my top three.
Great.
And I don't know if I can top that list. So I know Emily Rose, I forget what the name title is, but that scared the crap out of me. I still see 3 a.m. if I'm up as like, is there a demon in the corner now? It's 3 o'clock. Crap, I gotta go to bed. And then I would say, ironically, I would say arachnophobia, because I still am scared of spiders. And the last time we were on a Spaces, in the middle of the Spaces, like a huge spider like crawled out from under my couch, and I had to catch it and put it outside. I try not to kill spiders because I feel bad, but and yeah, I think. Oh, and then Mike turned me on to this movie. This is a fantastic example of, and it's not necessarily like super low budget, but from like a low budget with excellent just work is the Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's really just like two actors strong mostly, and I think Emil Hirsch is in it. But just the pacing and the drawing you in, and it's just like, they're basically dissecting what they don't know is a witch, and it's just like a crazy experience, but like so contained. And that type of example is something that I think is something Block of Horror at some point is geared to do. The big blockbuster horrors, like we'll see if we can get there, but I think for now, just like what's attainable, that type of experience is the goal ultimately.
Man, let me tell you, when I think I was about 6 years old when I saw The Exorcist. Bruh, when I tell you that movie was singed into my mind, it scared the crap out of me, man. I'd be sitting in my bed. any noise I hear, any creak in the house, I was shook for years. For years. That film scared the crap out of me, man.
I still
What about
refuse
Dawn
to
of the
watch it.
Dead? Dawn of the Dead. I don't know if you guys remember that. I'm a lot older, but I watched all that in school. Dawn of the Dead, the whole all of it. I thought that was really good. I miss that type of horror.
Are we talking about the old school version or the remake?
The old school version. Like
Old school version.
we used my friends and I used to skip school and watch it all day long. Especially I think one of them, there was a mall scene. You gotta realize back in the 80s and early 90s, it was all about the mall. So when we saw that in the mall, oh my God.
Yes, the
mall
scenes are fantastic. I love it. Yes.
The escalator. You remember the escalator? The mall scene, the escalator. I know you know what I'm talking about. Oh my! I'm still traumatized. Every time I walk on an escalator, I think about that scene. Still traumatized.
I don't know. Zombie movies never did it for me.
Oh, you kidding me? I watch so much zombie movies. I don't know what it is. It's very addicting to watch
Well,
too.
zombie movies. Well, zombie movies, like the attraction for me, because it's such a commentary on consumerism, and so for me, like that's the major appeal with zombie movies. Like, you become these mindless beasts that consume brains, and it's like the gore with everything and the twists and turns. I mean, I think it started with my grandma. Like, my mom never knew this, but my grandma got me into horror. She was addicted to it, and so every night I go to my grandma's house, and like she's just watching Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween.
Oh, that was another one.
Yeah, like all these like throwback, old school horror. I got into it, and I'm blanking on one. Oh my gosh, the horror where they're in a cabin. Ash. Why am I blanking on the name? Can anyone help me out?
Friday the 13th.
No, it started out as like a very B movie horror, and it was like terrible. And then they made a remake. They made a part 2, and they basically made it completely absurd. Maybe I'll think about it later.
I have no idea on that one, bro.
You're not talking about like Halloween. You said a cabin? I'm trying to think.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, yes.
Yeah.
Evil
Sorry,
Dead.
DT. I'm like, let me on the
Evil
stage.
Dead.
I got you.
I love these conversations about horror, about the zombie, and then I'll go back to listening. But who watches The Walking Dead? And
I was getting ready to mention that.
Yeah, I actually got all in my chest and my feelings when I don't want to mess it up for anybody, but it was like an earlier season where they were looking for the little girl, and I really didn't even question the fact that they were gonna find that little girl and be okay. And when they found her, and she was one of them, I was so done, yo. I took like a whole 2 seasons for me to watch them again. That's all I wanted to say. I was in my feelings. I was like, not her. I just knew they were gonna find her.
Yeah, I remember that. I was very disappointed. I did a whole Facebook post about it. I was obsessed with it.
The Walking Dead kind of gave the zombie genre a boost, man. Video games started coming out, the zombie video games, and more zombie movies.
Don't forget the merch. I got Sean's blade. Her. I guess katana. It's not a katana. It's a certain type of blade. But I got that one. I got the replica. That was one of my birthday presents. I'm not into horror, but I collect knives and swords, and I just love any type good, especially in the movies. I love looking at their swords. Don't ask me why I'm telling you this, but that's what I'm into. I'm not into horror, but I'm into the gear.
Oh yeah, and Mazer was editor on some of the promos, I think, for AMC and Walking Dead and stuff. So he's probably way too familiar with that series.
Yeah, I've worked on Walking Dead for like 7 years, and every season, just the trailers. But The Walking Dead really kind of put cinematic television on the map. If you go back, like AMC is really, I think they're one of the pioneers of bringing that kind of cinematic binge-worthy TV to everybody. I mean, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, The Walking Dead, all of that stuff is shot like a film and then just elongated to tell more of the story. So I think it's great, and what better than zombies and horror in that aspect? It's so consumable. I think that could have been like one of the some of the big fuel that kind of set the fire to bring cinematic television and blow it up to what it is today.
I was addicted to Breaking Bad.
Oh, I was obsessed with that one.
That was such a dope show.
But nowadays with the streaming and it's a great thing to have that ability to watch all the episodes. Spend the whole weekend just dopamine dumping into your system, because that's what I feel like. It's a serotonin dopamine dump when you sit there and watch live stream of the same shows of all the seasons because you can't stop watching it. I don't know if anyone's been there, but I've been there. It's a true addiction. I really have a hard time if it's a really good storyline. I'm obsessed. I can't imagine watching, like being able to watch a whole bunch of clips in film NFT, because just by hearing, when you listen to music NFT, you can tell the huge difference in sound quality. And when you watch a film NFT, oh my God, that's like incredible. So I could imagine what it's like if we were able to binge in that sense.
Before I ask this question, I just want to say this. I'm kind of excited for where VR film, like horror and VR film, is going to go with, like, the jump scares and all of that with, the VR glasses on and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I kind of like. I'm looking forward to it. I would never watch it because I'm not really watching horror. I just like watching the swords. I told you guys that. But I feel like for kids and everything, there's going to be a whole bunch of legislation about VR and children, because I don't think, a lot of parents don't think it's a big deal. But I've been messing with VR since 2015, and just a lot of people I talk to, they're worried about kids and VR. So could you imagine watching VR and horror at the same time if you were a kid? And are you going to have like, how old are you? Like, are you 17 and up, that type of deal? Will you be putting that on your film?
Yeah. And I have a 2.5-year-old, and just from my recent experience, man, they soak up everything, and it's unbelievable the impressions that are made on them by just the smallest things. And just like in hindsight, like, I'm glad my wife's like, we can't let her watch anything that's like this. I'm like, okay. And I think it's the right thing. Like, and people need that information. I think, that's something even, us in this space can work to do, is advise, as we learn about this technology and put it out there, hey, this is really not appropriate for this type of mental stage in one's development. And it's really just to protect people. I watched Wizard of Oz as a kid, and I've had nightmares until I was 20 about witches under the bed grabbing me and pulling me under. Like that's Wizard of Oz. So, my gosh, if people are watching these amazing cinematic experiences and VR type stuff. So definitely agree.
All right. I've been waiting to ask this question. I think it'd be kind of fun. I wanted to role play for a second. All right. Say I had $50 million, right? And you guys come in my office. I'm going to give you guys $50 million to make a film, a horror film. But you have to remake a horror film. Which horror film would you guys remake?
Mike? I defer to Mike.
That is a crazy question, man. That's a loaded question.
$1 million. That's a lot for horror to remake.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we start a franchise? Do we remake it?
I would say so. Yeah,
that's something.
Go all out.
I don't know, man. I could see maybe taking something that was maybe a little less popular and making it bigger than it ever was.
Nice.
I dig that.
I would probably do
under promise and over deliver.
I would probably do the Freddy Krueger, the Friday the Third. I'm sorry, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise reboot. That I don't think it would take 50 million though, but like rebooting that franchise and making it into like a kind of a contemporary slasher film. So like really taking some of the elements that like we know from horror back in the day and like incorporating that, but also some of the contemporary slasher horrors that it's kind of making its way back up. So that could be something, and I think it'd be something that many different generations can be into, right? So like our parents, they grew up on that, so they'd be into it, but also the younger generation, they would be into it as well. So maybe doing a remake of some of those old classics, that would probably be.
And just real quick, David, I love that. And I would almost pivot right into like, can I just hire Jordan Peele and we just do whatever he wants? Because for me, like, I feel like from a business perspective, that's the right thing, and just from a creative perspective, he's just crushing it. So just
he did like a reboot of the Twilight Zone. So that was like really cool.
He sure did.
Yeah. So like, yeah, definitely hiring Jordan Peele for that.
You know, I would even go as far as taking a property that was not horror originally, like something like, you know how the Disney movies are based on old folklore, old storytelling. If we took one of those and turned it into a horror movie, like Snow White or Pinocchio or something, and made that an absolute banger horror movie, I would put 50 million into that. I think that might be a decent option.
A Disney horror class, a Disney horror franchise with Disney horror characters.
Can I just say something to that? I'm a massive fan of what you just said, Book of Horror, and Snow White has been made as a horror film. It's called Tale of Terror with Sam Neill and Sigourney Weaver, and yes, it is marvelous. It's one of my all-time favorites ever. It's apple grows on an oak tree, but anyway, you have to go fairy tale. But yeah, it's dark and twisted and creepy and strange in a way. So yeah, go check it out. I think Monica Keena is Snow White, and she's gorgeous. Sorry for chiming in. I didn't.
No, thank you for jumping in. Yeah, that looks like that was in the 90s. So I think it's due for another reboot.
Yes. I'm not a big fan of reboots though. What if you give me 50 million and I make the movie I want to make for 6 years?
No,
I like that.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
It's not our money, so we have to do whatever the EP says, unfortunately. Wink,
I need
wink.
a horror film.
A reboot.
No.
Or we let the community decide.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
We come full circle. And I think Julian and Flip have their hands raised. Love to hear from them.
Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. First of all, to what you guys were just talking about, if you go back and actually read all those Brothers Grimm's tales, like even the Little Mermaid, they're super fucked up. Like they're really dark, Hansel and Gretel and all that. And Disney actually made them child friendly, but they're super jacked up. So I actually think that's a great area to mine for not rebooting, but actually just telling those stories. And I know there's some TV shows that kind of have done some of that. But the question I wanted to ask was to you all about the ability for the horror fandom, in that fan group to actually kind of onboard that group into NFTs, because I know there's still like a lot of resistance about NFTs. A lot of normies out there just like don't get it and are misinformed. But my gut tells me that the fan base that isn't currently in NFTs yet, but are on Reddit and some of these other watering holes that are just super fans of the horror genre, they seem to be like really open to pushing the envelope and new ideas. And my gut tells me that you all and some of the other folks in this space will be able to onboard them more easily than a lot of other folks into the space. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but have you had any success kind of starting to bring some of those folks into NFTs and into this world?
Yeah, so thanks, Julian. That's a great question. We're definitely looking into that, and we've started bridging into people we are, friends with or, colleagues with in the past that are in those spaces at a very deep level. And so we're positioning ourselves to, make sure we can at least like knock on those doors and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Are you interested? And so, it's definitely part of something we're building towards. Part of what we're doing right now is we're building what we're launching, and gearing everything towards the community that is in the NFT space to start, just because that's who's here and already understands it. It's obviously like even more difficult to appeal to people who are like, well, what's a MetaMask? So, but it's definitely part of the plan. Is we know that there's huge horror, fans on different platforms in different ways. And we think something like this would definitely be, of interest. And so we'll definitely be, presenting, what we're doing to those, those outside, let's say, communities, and inviting them to learn, like, to your point, like, what are we doing? Like, why could it be beneficial and cool and awesome? And, educating them along the way as needed as well.
And to piggyback off of that, we've been working real close with our poster artist, Ryan McGrath, and he is so deep into the movie poster community. I didn't know there was as big a movie poster community as there was. It's very similar to the NFT community, where a drop will come out and then it's sold out in seconds or minutes from a very reputable poster artist like Drew Struzan, who does all the Star Wars and Indiana Jones, those like very, very classical looking, those kinds of posters. But it's just the resemblance to NFTs and the collectability of it is so similar. So I think we may be able to tap into that community as well. And that was a big thing too by for our art, just like having the different variations, and that exists in the movie poster community as well. There's variants, there's a base poster, and then there's the art only poster, which maybe they only make like 1% of for that total supply. So there are lots of opportunities to bring those folks in, and the similarities between movie posters and NFTs are it's pretty abundant. I was very surprised. So hopefully we'll be able to capture a portion of that community as well.
Sweet. Got one more hand up. Flip.
GM, everybody. I am digging this space. Happy 420. I am nice and lit, and I'm about to see the dentist for the first time in that state, so that'll be interesting. Completely unrelated to this space. But I wanted to answer your question from earlier, because if I had 50 million, no, I would not need that much, but I'll take it. And I would remake It Follows, but I would remake it. I wouldn't spend all 50 million on the movie. I would split it into thirds and use the other two parts to develop AR and VR versions of the film that you could release with it, because that film is creepy as hell. And if there was some AR It Follows following me, I would lose my shit.
Now we're talking. I love it.
That's awesome. Very creative.
Yeah, I'm loving what y'all are saying, though. This stuff's dope. I actually do have to walk into the dentist right now, so I'm gonna pop back in if you guys are around. But yeah, happy 420.
Happy 420, brother. Appreciate you.
By the way, It Follows is a great movie, and one of the actors in that, he's breaking out. He's going to be a big star, and he's actually the star of Flinch Part 1. We just had him in a space last week, and he's super committed to the project and just said he's going to be down to do Flinch Part 2 and 3. So we're going up.
Go. Let's fucking go.
That's amazing.
Congratulations. Amazing, Julian.
I love Flinch, man. That was such an awesome movie. Okay, let's see. Have any questions? Any more questions? For Block of Horror. Serenity?
Oh shit. For Block of Horror, I wanted. Can I ask a general question?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I also have to go very soon. I just want to check in. But I wanted to ask all of you, why are horror Western, for example, so popular with audiences but never make their money back? Why is that?
Did you say horror Westerns?
Horror Westerns, yeah. For example, Pale Rider or Gallow Walkers or Bone Tomahawk, which is amazing, or The Missing, something like that. People love it. People would love to see a horror Western, but it's almost always a box office bomb.
Yeah. I think a part of the issue is, from what I'm familiar with, and I'm no expert per se in that, but I think anything Western typically can cost a lot more money just because of like the stunts involved and just the degree of difficulty with some of that. And obviously, like, you're on location, wherever you have to shoot and all that. So I think a part of it might be just production costs tend to be more expensive than, your, like I mentioned earlier, the autopsy of Jane Doe type stuff. So that might be a part of it. But as far as, popularity and return on investment, I don't know. I mean, in the film industry, just from my experience, I'm sure other people up here, there's no perfect formula. You'll have great scripts, great actors, and it'll bomb in the box office. So there's no, to me, like, perfect vehicle. Obviously the industry has a very specific way of how they think people will buy the movies that are made. But, that's also the beautiful part about the Web3 future of cinema, and where this is all headed, in my opinion, is that model is going to evolve, change, and adapt. And so there's just new opportunity for, like, let's say, Western horrors type things to get more legs and get more support, because there is a dedicated community that does want that content. And now they have like a direct pathway and access point to like know where it is, how to get it. It's distributed peer to peer, let's say. So it's just, I think you'll start to see that these type of niches within niches, let's say, are actually going to find more legs and more sustainability because of the Web3 model, potentially.
That's 100% true. No, I did watch Bone Tomahawk multiple times, and despite him having 5 big actors in there, including Kurt Russell, he really didn't have much money. I think they just did it for the love of it, and nobody got really paid. And I love that movie, but it's an audience favorite, and yet it didn't even make its teeny tiny budget back. So it's a bit sad. And yeah, it's just a curiosity of mine. Thank you so much for responding. I gotta go, guys. I have a interview right now, but and I have to put my face on as a lady. But am I allowed very briefly to share some news with you all?
Go for it. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. For one, beautiful space. I love it. I always miss it. So I'm very happy this time I didn't. But yeah, I would like to share the news that on Easter Sunday, we released our movie as a CNFT. And I just wanted to put it out there because I'm incredibly, incredibly happy. I'm incredible that it finally did find a good release. And yeah, we released our first movie on a traditional way. And now the second one, Toxica, is released as a CNFT. And yeah, it's just, I just wanted to share that with you. Julian, you already knew that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody. We got to clap for her. My God, that's incredible. That's so.
Thank you.
Let's show some love. You got to come back and talk to us about it. We're going to make it a space all about you because, man, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, man. Thank you, Tonya. I would love to. And I'm so sorry. I just have to wash my hair and put my face on so I look like a human being for a Zoom chat. So yeah, thank you. I'm very, very happy. And when are you on next, you guys?
Next Wednesday at 12 p.m.
Sweet. I shall not miss it. Thank you so much. And yeah, sending much love and much creativity. And yeah, Blockimus, I loved your response, and I would love to talk to you guys more next time. So yeah, onwards and ever upwards.
All
Awesome.
right, thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good
yeah.
one.
Hit us up anytime. Yeah, we're so early in this space, especially. I really think anyone in the film 3 space. I personally fully support y'all. Like, we're obviously super busy over in Block of Horror building. So, if something's happening and we're missing it, like, just you can hit me up in my DMs and be like, yo, this is what's going on, and just keep me posted because, I'm just obviously just busy, but, I definitely want to support, everyone in the film 3 space, especially, and where this can all go. Cause I think we're all going to be potential pioneers for, transforming an industry. So it's big time stuff, in my opinion, that's ahead of us.
Yep. And just to let you guys know, we also stream simultaneously on Beem. So next week, if you guys, everybody that's in here, want to download the app and join us over on Beem as well, that'd be awesome. Shout out to Mihai and Tess for stopping by from Beem, and my co-host, the director Spotlight, She Crypto. And next week we're going to have the Road to Rome guys on, and I'm super excited about that. Our first animated series, and we're also it's going to be a 2-part event. We're going to have the interview at 12, and at 8 p.m. we're going to be screening both episodes of Roads to Rome right here on Beam. So I would love for all of you guys to join us next week for that. And like I do every week, I want to go ahead and present Block of Horror with the Starseed Hall of Fame Golden Movie Ticket. We're going to get that to you guys. We're going to post that up after this, tag you guys. But we appreciate you guys stopping by. This was such a dope conversation. You guys' potential is just through the roof. I'm super excited. Hopefully we can do something later down the road. You guys are doing an awesome job with the VR theater, and I would love to be a part of that somehow. But yeah, this was a great space, and thank all of you guys for coming out. And yeah, we're out of here.
So
you
everybody have
so
a
much.
great day. I wrote a blog about this already. It's already published. I'll send you the link to it so you can have it as part of your press stuff. It's not.
Please.
It's actually not a full. It's actually just embedded of the YouTube. But when I have a chance, I'll start cutting up the snippets, and then you'll have a full because like an hour of this. I'm sure we'll have like 30 videos out of this 1 hour easily because we talked about everything. So I appreciate you guys for being here, and we'll be back next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, I really still Tess, make sure we talk offline about something I want to do with Beam because I think it's really important. And Chi Crypto, I'm so happy that you guys are doing this project. I look forward to seeing what we can do together. And again, everyone, have an awesome day. Happy Hump Day. Bye, everybody.
We're out.
Thank you.